All right, guys, welcome back to another edition of Raw Intuition Inside Scoop. Today we have a fantastic guest for you. Gillian Berry is going to be joining us today, and she's going to tell us about her raw vegan life transformation and all the different things that she has learned and experienced over the last nearly 6 years of being on a raw vegan diet. And she has one of the fastest growing and popular YouTube channels out there. So I highly recommend you check out her YouTube channel. We'll link it in the description box down below. Really inspiring content. She always puts out high quality, helpful, valuable information for people. And I think that's why people really love her. So, Jillian, thanks for joining the channel and sharing your experience with us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. And thanks for that beautiful intro. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right. So, I guess we can just get started off with, can you give the viewers just a little bit of a backstory on, kind of how you grew up, what your lifestyle was like, and then, how did you kind of get into this lifestyle and what brought you in there?
Yeah, no problem. So I was born in 1982, 80s girl. So I'm
Okay.
39 years old and I grew up with a single mom in the country and I had a pretty good childhood. I ate just sort of how everyone ate, like standard American diet. My mom tried to be as health conscious as she knew. So most dinners were like pork chops, mashed potatoes, corn, like some sort of meat, potato, and then veggie. And I mean, after school, I'd have nachos, junk food. I ate a lot of gluten, a lot of dairy, a lot of stuff like that growing up. And in my teenage years, I mean, I wasn't eating very well and I was really depressed. I had a lot of acne and I totally didn't connect the things at all. Sometimes I think, imagine I had realized, sometimes I think, oh, I would love to go to high school and speak or something. And just imagine like knowing at that age, just the effect these foods have on our body. It would have just totally transformed me from a young age rather than in my 30s. But I'm grateful to have found like all of this out when I did. Better late than never. And still, it's still early technically.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so I ate the standard American diet and I was just not super healthy. I got into drinking in my teenage years. I went to university, got married right after university, and we sort of were in the habit of, we always worked hard, had like decent jobs and everything, but we were in the habit of drinking every day too. So I spent my 20s drinking and I got pregnant at 29, had my first amazing baby, May. And then I ran into a lot of health problems after I had her. So, like doctors would say, maybe it's just because you're a new mom, but I knew there was more going on. And the main issue I had was a lot of digestive problems. So, like many times I was having diarrhea and I would barely ever have like a formed bowel movement. My bowels were a mess. And I was either having diarrhea or I was constipated. And then it got to the point where there was blood in my bowels and I was very tired every day. And I was like thinking, like, this isn't normal to feel this way, right? Like I would crash every day. I would get tired just walking up the stairs. My skin was a mess, like on my chest, my back, which was just so, it just felt so gross. As a woman, you want to wear a bathing suit and your back is just covered in acne and my upper thighs. And I was having a lot of panic attacks, like so bad. I don't know if anybody out there's had panic attacks. I'm sure you have, but they were so severe to the point where I thought I was going to die. And they happened multiple times, and ambulances would have to be called. I'd have to go to the hospital. I would call my mom and say, I'm going to die today. It was like so crazy. And they were just so severe. And they would get to the point where I couldn't even speak. And just like I was a mess. Like my husband at the time, like he had so much patience with me. It was like so nice, but it was just like such a mess or all these different things going on. And I don't know how exactly I started. I think because one of my friends, Laura, was like kind of in the health world here in Toronto. And she was like, you have candida, try this candida diet. So that's when I sort of, I think, started trying different diets and different ways of like, started having juice, started doing juicing, things like that. And I started trying different diets. I even tried the blood type O diet because my blood type is O. So for anybody who doesn't know, that is a heavy meat diet because they say you're the oldest blood type. You're meant to eat like a heavy animal based diet. So back then, like, I don't know what year this was, but I tried that and then it just wasn't working. And I was trying all these diets and I still knew I could feel better. And I went to this one doctor and he was like, I was still eating some gluten. I don't know when it was around the blood type O diet or a different diet, but he was like, maybe you have celiac. You need to try remove gluten from your diet. So I removed gluten from my diet. It was unbelievable how good I felt within 24 hours. I literally felt like a new human being. all my brain fog had gone that I didn't even realize I'd had. And I felt so happy and all my anxiety had like left. And like I used to have so much anxiety that if I would go to the store just to buy something, I would feel anxiety like at the cashier and stuff like that. It was like pretty bad. So I removed gluten. I was like, this is crazy. I felt so incredible. So that really started the path for me. That doctor in Toronto in the Kingsway saying that like literally just changed my life because that started to make me realize how the effect foods have on me. I think just so many of us don't connect like the fact that like you are what you eat a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So then I removed dairy and I realized like, whoa, my skin cleared up. Like, you know, you hear Woody Harrelson said like he had bad skin and this girl came up to him on a bus and she was like, your skin on your face, that acne, I can guarantee you it's from dairy, cut it out and it'll be gone in 3 days. And then he was like, I did. And by golly, it was gone. So like, it was the same case for me. I didn't so much have it on my face, but my back. So like gluten and dairy got rid of a lot of the problems, but I still didn't feel amazing. And my digestion was still off and a mess. So, and also I just want to say too, after I cut gluten, if I would eat it, like my bowels, or if I would eat it by accident, because it's in so many things, right?
Yeah.
I would be like throwing up and have like, you know, be in the toilet for 5 days. It was like crazy. Whereas like I used to eat it all the time. Right. And then once you remove it from your body like that, it was crazy. So anyway, just removing those things totally changed my life. In 2016, it was like August 30th or 31st, whatever. I was reading something by Dr. Sebi because at this point I was super into health and like how everything affects you. I was constantly now researching how blueberries affect you, what nutrients are in this, what does this. So I discovered Dr. Sebi and he was saying something about the living foods and something I was reading online. And I thought, like, I've never heard of this. I've never thought to try living foods. This is crazy how I haven't heard of this. So the next day, it was September 1st, 2016. I tried to do all raw the whole day. I'm telling you, by the afternoon, I felt so good. By the evening, I felt like I've never felt this good in my whole life. And I was somebody who liked before that, liked my coffee, my alcohol, like liked some sort of escape, some sort of high. And like whether it be a runner's high, alcohol, this, that. And I was like, holy crap, like I've never felt this good. I feel like I just like knew this was how I'm supposed to feel. So it was just like, I've never felt this before. Oh my gosh, the whole world has to feel this. Even my husband was like, you seem so happy. Like I was just like coming to life. Right. So this just totally changed my life. And then I've been raw ever since. I did go through a divorce, like a bad separation in this time, and like a lot of things happening a couple years into being raw. So I did fall off the wagon for a couple weeks. At one point, I felt like crap, but overall, I've been raw for the almost 6 years, and nothing's changed my life more. It got rid of all my health problems. It reversed all the digestive problems. I have perfectly formed bowel movements now. I feel incredible. And one of the main reasons I do it is just because my energy, I have nonstop amazing energy. I knew I was meant to feel amazing. I knew it wasn't just like, you're a new mom, you're tired. Like my daughter now, still 3.5 years in, gets up in the night and I still have so much energy all the time. Like we are meant to feel amazing. And I'm just so happy that I discovered this way of eating. It's just helped me like in so many ways. There's no more panic attacks. My depression and anxiety has gone down so much, almost nothing. Sometimes life comes at me and I do still experience like some bad days and some anger and some sadness. Like it's normal also to experience all those emotions, but just the level of like depression and anxiety that I had and the panic attacks, like all of that is gone. And it's why I started my channel. It's changed my life like nothing else. So.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I could, really relate to so many things that went through and how you grew up. We had a very similar diet growing up and yeah, a lot of the things that you experienced, I didn't have the gluten issue, but most of the other things I can definitely relate to. So yeah, I mean, when you were going through this, did you get any pushback or like have any confrontations with friends or family that were maybe warning you against doing something like this?
Not so much actually. I feel like most of the people around me could see that it was like totally changing me. Even I remember when I had my second baby, my mom was like, "Wow, I'm tired." And I'm laying on the couch and you just had a baby and you're running around with all this energy. Like what's going on, right? So for the most part, like people that I've known have been super supportive. Like no one in my inner circle has like come at me and being like, I'm concerned, you shouldn't do this diet or anything. I think because they've seen it's just changed me so much and just turned me into like who I truly am.
Yeah.
But I mean, Yeah, luckily I haven't dealt with much of that, but mind you, it is a totally different diet and way of eating and lifestyle than how everybody else eats. So I just, yeah, so that's changed a lot of my friendships and a lot of my relationships. I used to go out every Monday night with a certain group of friends, drink a couple bottles of wine, and go out on the weekend and do all that. So those sort of friends are literally have all faded away in my life. And I'm not really, they're amazing people, but I just have a totally different group of friends now than I did then.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That just naturally seems to happen for a lot of people in this lifestyle. You know, you just start to vibe with new people and that's who you start to hang out with. So you live in Toronto. Is there, a lot of good options for you there, or have you found it difficult to be raw in somewhere like Canada?
You know what? Surprisingly, I've found it super easy to be raw in Canada. We are lucky. We have great access to so many great fruits and vegetables. And yeah, maybe it's not so great that some of them, like the exotic fruits, have to be shipped in and things like that. So I do try to eat as much as I can at the farmers market and locally, but I do still have stuff like that's shipped in, like durian now and then, or like mangoes and all these things. But the quality of fruits we have here is amazing. And I feel amazing. I would rather eat this way in the winter when it was is cold and feel amazing than have the cooked food and not feel as good. Because I know for me, there have been times over the last few years that I have played around with it and tried to have cooked food, like a lentil soup or a sweet potato. And just every single time, I just feel more tired. It makes my digestion slower. And I just don't feel as connected to like myself, my higher self, like as clear headed and energized and amazing when I wake up in the morning, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what about like spiritually? Have you had any experiences like spirituality? Did you used to be spiritual? Has anything changed in that area?
Yeah, it's changed big time. I feel like a much more spiritual person. I think before I was raw, I would say I was more of an atheist. And I
Hmm.
respect what everyone believes. So I'm not judging at all whether anyone's atheist or anything. But now I really, without a doubt, absolutely believe in God. I believe in the afterlife. I am just obsessed with, and I have been over the last few years, like watching near death experience stories on YouTube and learning, like, and it's just there's so many similarities to these people when they go to the other side, they have the life review. So I just feel so much more connected to who I really am and connected to God and feel like God does speak to us in many ways, whether it be like the next song that comes on the radio or somebody saying something at the right time or these synchronicities and things like that. And I never was in tune or in touch with these things before I was raw. And I do recognize that some people still can be in tune with this and like this, even if they're not eating raw and they're eating other ways. Like some people can just still be the most creative person, reach their higher self, feel connected, like even if they're eating like, anything. But I'm not like that. For me, I just feel so connected. My favorite book now is Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. I'm like right into spirituality. And I would just love to get more and more spiritual. I mean, I have young kids, so sometimes it's hard for me to like meditate in the morning and like, but I definitely want to get into more meditating in the morning and before bed and more work on my subconscious mind. I'm trying to do that right now with my affirmations. I'm like even sleeping with them. And I'm just definitely much more into like the spiritual side of things for sure. And the living foods have just done that. And I've noticed over the last few years, like I've said, when there have been times where I've had cooked products and I just felt like maybe not so much even the vegan products, but there were a couple times over the last 5 years where I did have salmon and some eggs. It hasn't been for a long time. It's a few years ago now, but I definitely felt like less connected. Like I can't even explain it. It's just like an energy thing, right? Like that energy in me like threw me off with my connection to source energy and God. Like I don't know. And I'm not saying it's like that for everyone, but I'm saying for me, it's a big difference. The living foods and the connection I have, and it just makes life a better experience. I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I've experienced that exact same thing. If I eat any sort of like junk food or anything like that, it immediately I can feel like a draining of my energy. I just feel less connected. So yeah, I totally know what you mean.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's not sort of cut you off, but that's not even why I initially went into raw. Like it was for other reasons. And now that's actually one of my favorite reasons for wanting to stay raw. I would say like for the positive attitude, the clear mind, the energy I have, and the spiritual aspects. Because when I like ate other things over the years and I lost that spiritual connection, that bothered me and I didn't like that. So I was like, I don't want to feel this way. I want to feel how I felt on raw, which has happened to me every time I've cheated my diet. I thought, why did I do that? Because like even on Easter, I had a coffee and I never do that. I never even crave anything anymore. I was like, why do I have this? But I was just like had it to connect, with the family on Easter. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, going at 100 miles a minute. And then I'm just like, oh, I wish I felt how I felt raw. Why did I do that? But sometimes it takes like feeling bad to realize how good you feel. Cause I feel like I just feel so good now. Sometimes you forget and then you have something and you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Do you have any tips for, you said maybe you would have the coffee to kind of connect with others. Do you have any tips for people that want to, stay raw and connect with others without
Yeah.
without kind of cheating on their lifestyle?
Yeah, I would just say for me, like the tips I would give is you have to come first. So I would say, like, putting yourself first. Like, if you have that wine or the coffee or the food, like, that's just temporary with that person. They're not going home with you, they're not inside your body. They don't have to feel the after effects. And typically, if you eat in a way that works for you, like how raw works for me, and you feel so amazing, it's just worth it to like stay on this vibe and this way of eating rather than like go off and do those things. I've regretted it every time. But at the same time, don't be hard on yourself if you do have something, because it just, I feel like, propels you even further to be healthier and like to get back on track in like a better way, even possible. And I just think so much of like eating is like emotional too, with like having things and like cravings. I feel like a lot of it is emotional. And a lot of us are unhappy in our relationships or our career, and we're not following our purpose and our passion. And so we're eating to like fulfill these voids of maybe traumas or things that might be going on in our life. So I think it's really important too that like we try and really figure out what makes us happy and focus on that and realize like it's not all food. And I feel like once we find like that connection with our purpose or passion, what makes us happy, then it's not so much even such an issue like the whole food thing, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that answer. What would you kind of describe your daily diet to look like for people that are kind of interested in, trying to make this diet work for them?
Yeah, I love this question. Well, I have a lot of what I eat in a day videos on my channel. If anybody wants to go, there's a whole playlist. I love making those. And I used to love watching those before I was raw. So I am just so in love with the food. And I just want to say to anybody out there, like the more you do it, the more you fall in love with the foods, the more your taste buds change. And if at the beginning it feels boring, like keep in mind and just if you can keep yourself to stick to it, like you will fall in love with the foods. And you have to realize like if you want to say like, okay, I'm going to commit to this for 30 days, like the other foods are not going anywhere. So just think in your head, like they're going to be on the planet, like the chips or the fries, whatever, it's not going anywhere. Try it for 30 days. It might change your life like it's done for me. So a day in my life right now or for food, it's a little bit different than usual. So right now I'm intermittent fasting.
Cool.
This has been the most life-changing thing I've ever discovered aside from being raw. It's making me feel absolutely incredible, like next level. I absolutely love it. So right now this morning, I had a bunch of watermelon. Or no, first I had a freshly squeezed orange juice and then I had some fresh watermelon. It was so delicious because it's just coming into season here. I think it was so good.
Nice.
And then I ate some bananas as well, a bunch of bananas. And then I'm going to make a big salad after our call as well, like a huge salad with some soaked lentils, some kale, some bell peppers, tomatoes, and then a dressing that is avocado, oregano, water, sea salt, lemon. And it's so good.
Wow.
And then I might have something after that just to really fill me up for the intermittent fasting. And I'll stop eating before 3 o'clock. So I'll have like a chia pudding or some dates just to fill me up and satisfy me. And then I don't eat until the next morning. And I feel so good doing this. It's like next level.
So cool. Wow.
Yeah.
So do you follow any sort of like, like 80-10-10, or, is there a certain macro ratio that you try to hit, or do you just kind of go by intuition, or how does that work?
Yeah. I just kind of go by how I feel. I haven't really like followed any of that over the years, but I see why people do.
Hmm.
But I just go how I feel. But I mean, I probably have kept fats a little higher over the years. I should like I do want to try get my fats in check a little bit more because I know when I keep my fats lower or when I do a cleanse without fats, I do feel better. But right now I'm intermittent fasting, so I do just try have some fats with my and fats are okay.
Hmm.
But I do know if I eat too many fats, I get a bit more tired than if I don't eat too many fats. So I do try be aware of my fats. Otherwise, I mean, I try switch it up, have a variety. I try go with what's in season as much as possible, what looks the freshest, and just what recipes or what things keep me excited. There's so many different recipes and ways of eating out there. It's definitely not boring, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So how did you kind of get into intermittent fasting? Was there a certain like person or anything that you saw that made you want to do it, or just kind of did you fall into it just naturally?
Yeah, no, there wasn't a person, but like I mentioned earlier, I have two kids, and my 3-year-old, she likes to wake up in the night.
Yeah.
So that my sleep has not been great for the last 3 years. So I'm just like, okay, I need to do whatever possible to feel amazing, because it's different. If I mean, it's not ideal to eat in the evening. I know that. But if people eat in the evening and then they can sleep as long as they want in the morning, it's a little different. I have to get up at like 6 or 7 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, what can I do here to feel my best? I always just want to do what can make me feel my best. And I feel like if I can work on myself to make myself feel my best, then that's offering more to the planet and my kids and to everybody as well. So I remember when I was in Costa Rica at one point a few years ago, I did do intermittent fasting for a little bit, and I stopped eating by 3. And I remembered I felt absolutely incredible. I would wake up at like 6 o'clock, like wide awake. So I was like, I'm going to try this. And I did an interview with Paul Nissan. He's been a 25-year raw vegan, and he was
Yeah.
talking a bit about it. And I think that sort of inspired something in me as well.
Cool.
And so then I was like, I'm going to try it. And I just feel like you're more in sync too with nature by like not eating dark and eating late into the hours. And I tried it. And then literally like within the first week, within the first couple days, I was like, holy crap. I just like, I feel good anyway, as it is raw, even with not much sleep. But this is just another level. Like I can't even begin to explain how good I feel. I wake at 6 o'clock. I'm wide awake and I'm just like ready to go. I'm so productive. And it's just amazing. I am absolutely loving it. My stomach feels good. I didn't need to lose weight. I lost 5 pounds within the first week. But it was, I don't do it for weight loss. I do things for like, how can I feel my best? And my workouts, I've started working out on intermittent fasting. I feel like I have so much energy. I'm doing like these powerful workouts. It's just taking me to another level. And
Wow.
there's some cultures that they stop eating, they eat most of their calories in the morning and early afternoon. And they say it like leads to a longer lifespan. I think Marcus Rothkranz talks a lot about that sort of thing as well. And I just see so many huge benefits, like just my mental clarity too, my productive and everything.
Yeah. Wow. That's so cool. So are there any other kind of lifestyle factors that you noticed help you feel your best as well, or has it been mostly from diet that you felt so good?
Well, yeah, mostly diet. I feel like diet is just the number one because we're just eating every day. It's so important. And it's just such a huge difference if we choose to feed ourselves something healthy versus something that's not meant for our body. So, diet is number one for me. Like, if I had to choose only one thing I could have out of all the health things, like sleep, it would be that diet, the healthy food.
Yeah.
But definitely working out has been totally life changing for me lately too, for the mental clarity. And for, I think it's important to like get our core strong, our body strong as well, and like work on having a healthy body because it's so easy for all of us to just sit so much every day now. So that's done a lot too for me mentally and everything. And I mean, just like, as you know, I'm on a 30-day social media detox. So like,
Yeah.
that's been really good for like just my mental health and things like that. And I think being outside, being connected to nature, things like that. There's just so many things. It's not only food. There's so many things with lifestyle that I think are important.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, do you want to share kind of a little bit about, how your social media fast has been going and some of the benefits you've felt?
Yeah, this is amazing, Matt. So I quit for 30 days and I'm 3 weeks in. I had no idea how happy this social media detox would make me. I've just been feeling a bit overwhelmed between YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everything. And I just am the type of person I feel like I should write everybody back when they write me a message. I like to engage with all my subscribers. I love my subscribers and like the comments and everything. And I just, with the kids and everything, I just felt like I needed a break. There was some drama going on my channel, which, and stuff too. I was just like, you know what? I just need a break and I want to like work on a new website, work on all these things too. So I took a break. Literally by like day 2, I'm like, I feel so good. I have less anxiety. I feel so much more calm and present and clear headed. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't even realize how much it all stimulates you because I like to post a lot of stories on Instagram. I'm getting a lot of messages. It's like, go, go, go. And then it gets you more disconnected, right? So it's like, it's just really calmed like the heck out of me. And it's just been I really recommend it to anybody. And also like the last couple of months I had gotten in a bit of a pause or in a bit of like a negative funk, like a bit of like, usually I'm very positive, but the last couple of months I'd just been feeding into too many negative things and focusing on negative things and gotten a bit negative, which isn't like me, but it happens, right? Like things happen. And so I just feel like this has been such a great reset. So if somebody's out there and they're feeling stressed or like it just might be like the reset you need to it's been incredible. I can't even explain it. Like it's incredible. So it's made me realize too, I need to set more boundaries when I do go back. Maybe
Mhm.
not just be on all the time, checking every message. Like go on at certain times a day and that's it. Because it's
Yeah.
a lot, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just like your diet, your intermittent fasting, kind of like with social media, if you only have a certain set of hours that you can go on there, it might help to limit
Mm-hmm.
that. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm everybody can tell, that you are a positive person and you have really great energy. In addition to maybe a little less social media, is there any other ways that you could give, tips or suggestions for people that, maybe kind of get stuck in some of those negative ruts? Is there a way that you stay positive and that sort of thing?
Yeah, you know what? Before I went off social media, I watched a podcast. I think it was by Elise Parker, and she was talking about when her channel was at its height, like Raw Alignment. She was
Yep.
talking about how, like, when she, at this point, for anybody who doesn't know, I think like 700,000 subscribers she had. I don't know. Her channel was really going. So I guess when it was like growing and everything was going amazing, she was always focused on, she said, always would only allow herself to focus on positive content, like
Hmm.
positive people, positive content, everything like she would focus on was positive. So I realized, okay, I listened to that like just before I did my social media detox. And I realized, okay, I haven't been doing that. That's how I used to be. I need to, how have I got off track? But it happens, right? Life can hit you, things can happen. Before you know it, you're complaining and you're acting like a victim sometimes. And you're doing all these things that is not your true nature. And you can snap yourself right out of that, just as how you got yourself into it. So I think a great tip is what I learned from her with that. Like that really made me check, like it made me realize some of the websites I go on, okay, maybe this isn't the most positive content. I'm going to, on this detox, stop doing that. So I think just the more positive things you can focus on, even with my new workout routine, like I searched like positive high vibe music, like, law of attraction, positive music. And now I listen to that in my workouts. And it's just, the songs you listen to even stick in your subconscious mind, all these things. And it's just like, it's just literally given me such a transformation in the last couple of weeks, just focusing on as much positive as you can. And so much of that does start with diet, how you eat. Like, that's why I eat raw. It feels like it just makes me as positive as can be versus if I was not eating raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I always like to ask people what the shifting moment was for them. I know you talked about, noticing how getting gluten out of your diet was a big eye opener for you. Would you say that was your shifting moment to, show you that, you wanted to get onto this path? And maybe it wasn't necessarily raw at that point, but do you have a shifting moment for when you knew the raw lifestyle was your, what you wanted to do?
Yeah. So it was definitely the day I went raw. Like I said, on September 1st, 2016, the first day I did it, I knew this is what I'm going to do forever because I did not know I could feel this good. And I'm feeling this good naturally. This is crazy. I was like, I've never felt so confident before, so amazing, so much like myself. So it was that day, 100% for sure. I just knew. And I just wanted the whole world to know. I experienced a huge transformation right away. And I think the fact that it was so instant for me was because I'd given up. I say this on my channel a lot, but for people who might try it and be like, I don't feel good right away. I had given up coffee. I'd given up alcohol. Like, I don't know if it was a few months before that or it was just mostly cut out before that. Because before I'd had coffee and alcohol every day. Right. So that had already been like out of my system. I wasn't addicted to it. I think if I was still addicted to it and then transitioned to raw, I wouldn't feel good instantly because I would still be withdrawing from those things. Those things are very powerful on our body. Even when I cut alcohol, I had so much anxiety. It was a big detox, but it was one of the best things I ever did. Like for me and my body, it's so toxic. It leads to so many negative things. And for coffee too, it was the hardest thing for me to give up. Like I said, I just had one on Easter. It's probably the thing I miss most. I love it, but it's not good for me. And at the end of the day, it just causes too many negative effects and disconnects me and makes me just drawn to all these people and situations and purchases that I would otherwise not do. So yeah, the shift was definitely the first day I went raw. It was huge transformation. But like I said, I wasn't addicted to anything when I transitioned. So for anybody who tries and I feel like they're like, this isn't working, maybe just make sure you have all those things out of your system first and then try and see how you feel. Maybe it'll work for you.
Cool. Okay, so the last question I have for you is for, people wanting to get into this lifestyle. What tips would you have for them that maybe helped you learn about the lifestyle and, make it a sustainable way of life.
Yeah. Okay. So the first tip I think would be to like maybe commit, like I said before, to giving yourself like a good time frame, like 21 days, 30 days, 60 days to really trying it. And I think you really have to find the method that works for you for trying it. I think there's so many different methods. For some people, transitioning into raw and trying it means a juice cleanse. For other people, they don't want to do a juice cleanse. It means going into it eating raw gourmet, like raw cheesecakes, raw pizzas, and they transition that way. And I know a lot of people have successfully transitioned that way. And then they wean themselves into eating like super clean and they swear by that. And then some people going raw, the best way I think is to start going raw till 4. I think that's really good. Like you just start eating more raw all day and then you have a cooked meal for dinner. And I think that's super great. I know a lot of people swear by that. So I think you really have to find the method that works for you to transition. And then also, I think you always have to realize you have to be very prepared. So even when I go anywhere in my car, anywhere, I make sure I have food on me, even if I'm going to a party, anything like I have walnuts or blueberries or snacks on me because the raw foods digest very quickly and you always have to have foods on you. So I think preparation is absolutely key. And also, I just think when transitioning too, it's important to think about, like I said before, things that are not food, what makes you happy. So when you have those moments where you're having cravings or you're making dinner for your family or things like that, like just think about things that make you happy. Put on your favorite song, high vibe music, things to like distract you from like the foods that you're craving. And just realize like if you're craving your family's dinner or the meals you see everywhere on Instagram, TV, billboards, like everywhere, like your taste buds will change. I've been doing this for almost 5 years or almost 6 years. And I literally never craved those foods ever. Even like I was at barbecue the other night with other people, like I was having my raw salads and stuff. And even just literally like the burger patty does not even look like food to me at all anymore. And I used to eat those burgers every barbecue and beer like every night in the summers. And that is not even food to me now. So just know like things change, work on your gut microbiome, your body, and it will change. Like hang in there. It's worth it. Like maybe even commit to a year of like health and like how far you can go with like spirituality, fitness, what you eat, and like you'll just be amazed. And it's just, even though maybe you lose some of the relationships along the way, it's worth it because you feel amazing. You have a better human experience, spiritual experience, and you end up attracting like more deep, amazing relationships to you, anyways.
Yeah.
So hopefully that was 3. I think that was 3 tips. I have
Oh,
videos on transitioning and tips too. I think it's a great question, a great topic.
yeah. Thanks. And that was a great answer. I just to add on to that, I mean, and to reinforce what you said, it's, the more you get into it, so just getting started, and once you start doing some of these tips that you mentioned, it makes the other tips, the other lifestyle factors easier to incorporate. It's, for me, it was just an organic progression.
Me
Uh,
too.
yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, great tips. And I think anybody that starts off with that is going to find success. So wow. Yeah. I mean, great information that you shared with us today. I really appreciate you coming on the channel. And guys, anybody that is interested again in Gillian's content, which I highly recommend, her YouTube channel is going to be linked in the description box down below. Is there any last words of advice that you want to offer to everybody before we log off here?
Yeah, I just want to say put yourself first and the rewards will just be huge. It's so important to take care of yourself, and how you eat is just a huge part of how you take care of yourself. And I just want to say too, like, don't feel guilty spending a bit more money on the living foods because it's just such a great investment in yourself. And for me, I've become so much more creative eating this way. So yeah, it's over the long run, over the last few years, it's probably cost me more than the standard American diet, but I've gained so much more. I never feel guilty or bad when buying healthy food. Even now, intermittent fasting, though, I'm probably saving money and eating less than if I was eating standard American. And there's lots of ways to do it on a budget. But I'm just saying, invest in yourself, put yourself first, and then you're just an even more like reward to the planet. You have so much more to offer to the planet when you can do that and take care of yourself first. I just feel like the greatest investment you can put in yourself is in yourself, and just in yourself first, and then you have so much more to give to this planet.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Okay. Well, again, thank you, Gillian. It's been a pleasure having you on the channel, and I look forward to another time when we can have you back. And again, everybody else, check the link in the description box below to go follow Gillian and get inspired to live a healthy, raw vegan lifestyle. And we will catch you in the next video.
Bye, guys.